Hello, good afternoon. You're watching ABC News. This is ABC Midday. I am Peggy Nyakwa Bano. Coming up in the next hour. Special Prosecutor, Electoral Commission Chair and deputies under tenterhooks as President John Mahama refers 10 separate petitions calling for their removal to the Chief Justice. The Ghana Education Service has defended the integrity of the 2025 WASSCE results, describing them as a credible reflection of students' performances as stakeholders call for a review of the free senior high school policy. Still to come, Asante Hene Otumfo Osei Tutu II is expected to deliver the final ruling in the long-running Boko Chieftaincy mediation today. In business, Ghanaians are said to pay a slightly higher price for fuel starting today, according to the latest projections by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. On the international front, death toll in the floods which struck Indonesia last week has now climbed to more than 500, with rescue workers still battling to reach affected areas. Stay with us, you have details of this and more coming up shortly.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, let me see what. Wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, na abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
You're watching Midday News here on ABC News Ghana Television. We're streaming live on Facebook at ABC News GH_. Now to our stories. The Office of the President has received 10 separate petitions calling for the removal of Special Prosecutor Kisi Ajabin and Chairperson of the Electoral Commission Jean Mensah and her 2 deputies. The petitions were submitted by private citizens alleging various forms of misconduct. The Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ajabin, in the petitions is accused of incompetence and abuse of office. The petitions are currently before the Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafo-Boni. Under Section 16 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Act 2017, Act 959, any petition for the removal of the Special Prosecutor must be evaluated to determine whether it meets the constitutional threshold for further action. For the EC, Article 70, Clause 2 of the Constitution states that the President shall, acting on the advice of the Council of State, appoint the Chairman, Deputy Chairman, and other members of the Electoral Commission. The Chairperson of the Electoral Commission and the deputies have the same conditions of service as those of justices of the Superior Courts, the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Court, and so are their removal processes. While the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission has the same terms and conditions of service as a Justice of the Court of Appeal, the 2 Deputy Chairmen of the Commission have the same terms and conditions of service as applied to a Justice of the High Court. Now let's take a look at the process for the removal of the SP and the commissioners of the Electoral Commission. So, Office of the Special Prosecutor, Act 2017, Act 959, removal of the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior or incompetence, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity of body or mind, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy, conduct which brings or is likely to bring the office of the Special Prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, or is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. 15.2 says, a person who seeks to remove the Special Prosecutor from office shall submit a petition to the President. When the President receives a petition for the removal of the Special Prosecutor, the President shall within 7 days refer petition to the Chief Justice, who shall within 30 days and determine whether there is a prima facie case. So also reads, where the Chief Justice determines that there is a prima facie case, the Chief Justice shall within 14 days set up a committee consisting of a chairperson who is a Justice of the Supreme Court, a lawyer of at least 15 years standing at the bar, and one other person with expertise in investigations. The committee shall within 90 days investigate the matter and make its recommendations to the President through the Chief Justice. Fifteen 6 says the President shall act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. Now let's take a look at what the law says about the removal of the Electoral Commission. Article 146 says removal of justices of superior courts and chairmen of regional tribunals. If the President receives a petition for the removal of a justice of a superior court other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie case. Alright, we'll be bringing you more of these constitutional provisions later, but joining us on the line is Edem Senanu, chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption. Good afternoon, Tenny. Welcome to ABC News Ghana Television.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Senanu, former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu was petitioned to be removed not long after the Electoral Commission chair and 2 of her deputies have been petitioned to be removed. Now we have 7 petitions to remove the Special Prosecutor. What are your thoughts on this?
If I read the headline right, it's or the details right, I think it's 7 on the EC and 2 on the, or 3 on the OSP, something like that. The 7 are not on the SP.
Right.
But yes, there's a really growing concern that it looks like there's a political strategy now when governments change, that there's an attempt to move all the heads of key independent institutions of state. Some might be justified, others obviously may not be justified. And I think it's a pattern that does not really augur well for our democratic dispensations. I think each may have to be taken on the merits of the issues, and if they are substantive, yes, why not? But if we have too much turnover in all these institutions, it's not healthy. So yes, it's a concern, and I think that Each case will have to be taken on its merits to see whether it is justifiable, but it's not a pattern we would want to encourage.
All right. Now, what exactly? I would like us to look at the petition against the office of the special prosecutor. What exactly could be accounting for his removal? What has led to these petitions that are seeking for his removal?
Well, I to be honest with you, my view has always been that I think that persons are being overly expectant and critical of the special prosecutor's office, because unlike their compatriots, whether EOCO, BNI, CID, to all extents and purposes, that office is just about 2 to 3 years old. Set up in 2018, it started out with a special prosecutor, deputy, and 3 secondary staff. They didn't have the logistical nor the human capital to the last quarter of 2023. I think it was October, November 2023 that they were allowed the resources to engage about 249 staff or so. So to all extents and purposes, that office has run from 2024 to 2025. It's a very challenging thing to be building an institution and at the same time taking on board very high profile cases, running around, at the same time trying to deal with persons, trying to remove you from office. I think they've had a very hectic, situation there, without people paying attention to the institutional building requirements that had to be done at the same time. So my personal view is I'm not quite sure that these are justifiable. I think that under the circumstances, the work they have done is laudable, and I'm not quite sure I can align with any persons, and there are quite a number of us who will not be able to align with persons who think that there is a strong justifiable basis to say we should remove the special prosecutor.
Right. Mr. Senanu, lawyer Martin Pebu has said that latest by Wednesday he's going to add up his petition to remove the special prosecutor, making it 4 petitions to remove him. It seems that there's a personal vendetta against him, even from this party and the previous government. This government and the previous government, sorry. What seems to be the issue with his personality? That is the OSP.
I don't think it's his personality. What's her name? Iriela Okonjo, the former finance minister for Nigeria and who then became the World Trade Organization chair, once said that corruption, when you fight corruption, corruption fights you back. That's what's happening. I mean, people who have interests, we've seen that usually when particular cases are coming up where they are pushing certain bars, then there is an increased spike in the number of attacks and comments, etc., because persons whose maybe interests are being influenced are also gathering resources and trying to make sure it's difficult for the office to work. So it doesn't matter who you put there. Trust me, there will be that political slant of those in high office. The same people for which reason we crafted Act 959 to say, we see that it's only the bottom layer who are always arrested and jailed, but the high-profile people are being let go. And so we need an office that is independent and can hold those people accountable. They're the ones fighting. I don't think it will make a difference if you put somebody else. They'll still find reasons. Most of the things they've raised, if you cross-check, that a few weeks ago it was about the docket not being given to the AG. The docket has been submitted. The initial one I think had about 20. Now they have 78 charges. It's obvious they did a lot of work. Nobody is commending them for the extra work they did. It's been on and on and on and on. It's corruption fighting back. And I don't know about the personal vendetta, but yes, sometimes we get worried when some of our counterparts appear just to be pursuing this. We don't have very clear clarity on what reasons or justification will get us to say at this stage an officer like that hasn't done anything criminal as far as I'm aware should be removed.
Right. So now, how do we protect an important institution like this from political independence? Political interference, sorry.
All of us have to just speak up where we think that the reasons are not justifiable, they are not strong. I mean, to err is human. Everybody makes mistakes. And if you are a Christian, I would say, if you haven't made a mistake, throw the first stone. And we have a situation where we have people just seeming to find, in my view, petty issues and highlighting them. Sometimes I think also there are persons who don't even understand the nature of investigation and prosecution. The special prosecutor has had to do a lot of background work in order to start work on the, say, kind of Friata one. People don't seem to understand you have to do the background check to see whether is there a contract, is that contract legit, is there a company, who are the directors, what work are they doing, what actions have they taken, which are, before you even begin to invite the people so you can ask the right questions. And then they say he wasn't doing any work. I have problems where persons who've not taken time to understand the processes that such investigative bodies have to do, an amount of work that goes in, and they begin to criticize. I think that what will happen ultimately, if you're not careful, is that nobody who is really worth the salt and wants to take up a position like that or would consider it would actually do so, because they know that, oh, whatever you do will find fault. So let the voices of Ghanaians who understand that, listen, sometimes the political parties, they have an interest in saying that this office should not even exist, which is what these days I hear people say, oh, it should not even exist, because they are thinking through, what do we do to raise money for ourselves? If we are caught, these guys might just jail us, and we don't want that. Let right-minded, patriotic Ghanaians speak up to make sure we don't destroy the institutions of state.
Right. Thank you for your time this afternoon, sir.
And thank you for having me.
That was Adam Senano, chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption. Now, moving on, the West African Examinations Council has confirmed a national education concern with the release of the provisional WASSCE 2025 results, revealing a worrying surge in the outright failure rate, that is grade F9, across all 4 core subjects compared to the 2024 results. An analysis of the official data release shows that the percentage of candidates who failed core mathematics outright, grade F9, has nearly quadrupled, rising from 6.10% in 2024 to an alarming 26.77% in 2025. Similarly, the failure rate for social studies has almost tripled in a single year, from 9.55% in 2024 to 27.50% in 2025. The massive increase in F9 grade signals a dramatic downturn in foundational knowledge among the total of 461,736 candidates who registered for the examination. The steepest increase was recorded in the core subjects that form the basis for tertiary education entry. The F9 rate in core mathematics skyrocketed by 20.67 percentage points, jumping from 6.10% in 2024 to 26.77% in 2025. This means nearly 1 out of every 4 students who sat for the exam failed the subject outright. In social studies, the F9 failure rate saw a severe climb, rising from 9.55% in 2024 to 27.50% in 2020. This represents an 118% increase in the F9 rate. Even the core literacy and science subjects saw failure rates more than double. Meanwhile, the Ghana Education Service has defended the integrity of the 2025 WASSCE results, describing them as a credible reflection of students' performance. In a press release dated 1st December 2025, the service addressed growing public debate following the release of the national results and urged the public to rely on verified information. Management said it had taken note of attempts by former Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum to link this year's performance to what he called unsupportive management practices at the Ghana Education Service. The service rejected these claims, describing them as an effort to shift attention from the former minister's own shortcomings in managing previous examination processes. The Ghana Education Service also debunked assertions that it had cancelled teacher allowances, clarifying that delays in November payments were explained by the Controller and Accountant General's Department and had nothing to do with policy changes. The statement further urged the public to disregard what it termed misleading commentary on the 2025 WASSCE performance, insisting the results are a true representation of candidates' academic abilities. According to the Ghana Education Service, credibility of the outcome was strengthened by heightened invigilation, rigorous supervision and strict enforcement of examination protocols across all centers nationwide. Still on this, the Deputy Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Patrick Appiah-Dankwa, has questioned the credibility of WASSCE results recorded during the early years of the free SHS policy. Speaking on ABC in the morning, he argued that the unusually high performance trends from the first 4 cohorts of free SHS did not reflect the reality on ground. According to him, given the inadequate resources, trained infrastructure, and high teacher-to-student ratios, a decline in results should have been expected, not near perfect outcomes. He explained that IFES investigation showed that consistently high pass rates were inconsistent with the challenges faced by schools, stressing that the findings suggest that results were not genuine.
The first 4 years of the free SHS, they even did better than the previous 4 years. Yes, the first 4 years of the free SHS system, they did better than the 4 years. So it looked as if something had been done. We envisaged that performance would drop because we had significantly high levels of the carrying capacity. You know, when I say carrying capacity, I mean the ratio of the number of students to the facilities, the number of students to the teachers and all that. So statistically, it would have made sense if in the first few years of the free SHS, if this problem showed. But it was near perfect. In the first few years of the free SHS, it was near perfect. The carrying capacity was high. Teachers were overburdened. Facilities were overburdened. But the results were exceptionally good. And it was better than the previous years. But the few investigations that we had done shown that there were a lot of things that were done that some of them it may be difficult to come to the public domain, which show that.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Patrick Appiah-Dankwa, has called for a bipartisan review of the free senior high school policy, clarifying that such a review does not equate to cancellation of the program.
Should have a bipartisan review of the free SHS. It's not its cancellation. We have to just review it. And you see, policy review, our worry is that policy review is an integral part of policy formation. And it's an integral part of implementing a policy. If you bring a policy at the end of a stated period, you need to review that policy. We say you buy a car. You bought the car because you want to get to work early. Now, after a month, you need to sit down and say, after I bought the car, how was it affecting my finances? I hope you get it. And have I gotten to work early? And has it made me more productive? If you check all these things and you realize that you are spending more money on the car, but you still don't get to work early, you are not more productive, you should confidently tell yourself that this car hasn't made me better. Let me sell it. Let me wake up early and sit in a trotro and get to work early. I hope you get what I'm saying. So, policy review is an integral part of the policy implementation process. So that if a whole government with professors and PhD holders You say we have bought free SHS. We won't review it. Anyone that says we should review it is against free SHS. Then we look at this and we look at some of these PhD holders and say, this is really evil. Because policy review is not a sin. It's not wrong. It's to find out if what you intended to do.
Joining us on the line is the PRO of Education Ministry, Hashmin Mohammed, to have more conversations on this. Good afternoon, sir, and you're welcome to ABC News Ghana Television.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Right. Now, the Ghana Education Service says the provisional results of the 2025 WASSCE examination is a true reflection of the performance of the candidates. Does the ministry also see the results in the same light?
Well, the GES work under the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education cannot have a different opinion from that of the Ghana Education Service. We have done a thorough assessment of the results, and we have come to the conclusion that this year the results is on merit base, because we have enforced strict invigilation, and that strict invigilation has ensured that there's minimal cheating in the exams, and that is just the true reflection of the results.
So if you say it's on merit based, does this mean that the previous examinations were not on merit based?
Well, I wouldn't say the previous examination wasn't on merit base, but there has been several concerns. You remember sometime this year, specifically on October 15th this year, the Catholic Conference called on the government and the Ministry of Education to ensure that it is able to work out exams issues regarding exams malpractices. And there have also been several concerns raised about exam malpractices. And based on that, this year, the ministry issued a directive, specifically the Minister for Education and his deputy, and then the Director General of the Ghana Education Service issued strict directive to headmasters and headmistresses to ensure that there's no cheating across all the examination centers. And they warned heads of institutions that any school or any examination center that is caught, there will be consequences for that. So the headmistress or the school management team, knowing this, also ensured that there were minimal cheating in the exams.
Right. Mr. Mohammed, I'd like to put you on hold for a while. Joining us on the line is Head of Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi. Good afternoon, sir. You're welcome to ABC News Ghana Television. Hello, sir. Mr. Kapi. It seems we are having issues connecting to Mr. Kapi. We'll still try and establish contact with him and continue the conversation with him. Now, Mr. Mohammed, I'm coming back to you. What exactly is the ministry putting in place? I know the GES is working with the Education Ministry. So what are you working on to help improve results in the coming years?
Well, what we want to ensure is that we want to, on the part of the Ministry of Education, what we want to do is that we want to ensure that we train learners who can have a meritorious possession of their certificate, not learners who, even at the university level, will struggle to meet the minimum requirements. If you are, I think even some university, because I've engaged some university lecturers who have raised issues about some of the products that do come to them in recent times at the university. Some of them, they have a lot of challenges. So all these issues put together, the call by the Catholic Bishop Conference has 45 years to ensure that we put in measures to ensure that all going forward, all exams are devoid of exam malpractices, so that we can have quality results for students who take part in whether BECU or the WASSCE exams.
Right, Mr. Mohammed, we have Kapi back on the line. Please, I'd like to go back to him. So, John Kapi, you're welcome back to ABC News Ghana Television.
Thank you.
All right. So, per your investigations, per your research, what exactly could be accounting for the high rise in failure with relations to the West African examination?
Okay, so good afternoon to your listeners. Sorry, somebody disrupted me a short while ago. That's why I went off. So we have received the chief examiner's report, especially for core mathematics, and they have cited a number of weaknesses on the part of the examination candidates. They are asking that the teachers, reinforce teaching in those areas. It mentioned representing information in the diagram. It also mentioned something about solving global mathematics-related problems. It talked about constructing cumulative frequency tables given data. From data that they are given, they're making deductions from real-life problems, solving application problems in translating word problems into mathematical expressions, and then interpreting of results from cumulative frequency curves. So these are some of the challenges that they have indicated that the candidates have. So I believe that going forward, the teachers may have to reinforce teaching in these areas in order that the candidates are able to perform better than they have done, as we've seen in this year's exam.
Now, the argument is that the failure is as a result of strict invigilation in this year's examination. Does that mean that previous examinations were not invigilated strictly enough?
Well, it's a combination of factors, as you go along. For example, if you are looking for success, it doesn't come in one day. You work on one thing and they reinforce it another time just to be sure that everything goes right. If you look at it, apart from these that the chief examiners have mentioned, yes, indeed, we had very strict supervision. I think the minister made a statement before the commencement of the examination that the ministry would deal decisively with any teacher who finds themselves culpable. Well, that could have done the trick. We also deployed a lot of monitors this year, our own staff, and then we had also some specially trained personnel who are working with us. Then the GS supported us because even the Director General himself went around whatever was happening around the examination centers. So I would say that, well, we haven't done any research, but considering what we put together, I believe that the strict supervision has done the trick. I would also want to add that there were some people who are private individuals, but who were also whistleblowers. They sent us a lot of information that enabled us to cross-check and be able to, pick up people who were doing things that were not acceptable as far as the examination was concerned.
Right. Now, some are claiming that the previous year's performance were good as a result of tampered results. Is it possible for these results to be tampered with before they are released?
Not at all. There are standards that we use when we are fixing the grades. You fix the grades based on a 3-year performance comparison. You compare the performance over a 3-year period and then fix critical grade points, and then based on that we run the results, and that is so. It is not true that we have padded the figures or we have tried to do anything. I mean, there's no assessment body worth its salt that would go out of its way to pad results just to ensure that candidates pass, because at the end of the day, if they move a step forward, it's going to show that indeed they did not do independent work, or they were given grades that they did not deserve.
Thank you for your time, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Right. That was Head of Public Relations, Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi. Now, Mr. Mohammed, thank you for holding on for me. Now, moving on, is there any plan to collaborate with the WAEC the ministry and then Ghana Education Service to collaborate with WAEC to improve upon the West African examination?
Well, those are the measures we have started putting in place, collaborating with the West Africa Examination Council to ensure that we put in the necessary protocols to prevent exam malpractices. And within the last 6 months, we have seen measures that we have put in place, like he has rightly mentioned. So we'll be evaluating the results. We'll be looking at all the aspects to the examination protocols, and where there is the need for us to improve, we will improve it, and where there is the need for us to strengthen, we will strengthen it, to ensure that there's meritorious application, there's meritorious possession of any certificate that any Ghanaian student will have.
Right. Thank you for your time this afternoon, sir. That was the PRO of the Education Ministry, Hashmin Mohammed. Now, moving on, Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II is expected to deliver the final ruling in the long-running Boko chieftaincy mediation on Monday, December 1, 2025. That is today, at the Menchia Palace. President John Dramani Mahama tasked the Asantehene to lead efforts toward a lasting resolution to the decades-old Boko conflict. His involvement in the mediation dates back to April this year, when he met representatives of both factions between April 28 and 30 to open a new chapter of the dialogue. Now, although discussions were temporarily suspended, they resumed on May 13, during which the Asantehene observed that the talks had contributed to a period of relative calm in the area. For years, the Boko municipality has endured recurring violence and heightened tensions, with sporadic attacks resulting in the loss of lives and the imposition of curfews aimed at curbing unrest. The situation has disrupted livelihoods, strained community relations, and drawn national concern over the urgent need for a lasting peace settlement. According to the Menchia Palace, today's session represents the culmination of the extensive peace-building efforts. Many residents and observers hope the final pronouncements will bring an end to the intermittent violence and destruction that have plagued Boko for years. The anticipated ruling is expected to pave the way for renewed stability, reconciliation, and development in the conflict-ridden enclave. Joining us on the line is the president of the Kusau Association, Kusau People's Congress, Professor John Izuma. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, today, the Asantehene is expected to make final mediation, final results, bring out the final results with regards to the mediation between the Kusau and then the Kusasis. Now, what are your expectations on that?
Well, our expectations are really straightforward. We are hoping and praying that this issue will be brought to a final resolution. What we are hoping for is a final resolution. Because, and I'm saying final because we've had final resolutions. This will be the third time that we are seeking a final resolution on this matter. And we are hoping that the Asantehene word will not depart from earlier resolutions on the matter. This matter has been resolved not once, not twice, but 3 times. And yet it continues. So we are hoping that maybe 4th time lucky, the parties will understand that this is the final, and the politicians will understand, the politicians will take their hands off, they should take politics out of it, and then Boko will return to peace, and make sure that this conflict doesn't flare up again. Our expectation is nothing short of a final resolution.
Now, earlier you expressed skepticism about the mediation that is going on, headed by the Asantehene. Now that it is ending, do you see that this will bring a conclusion to the conflict between the Mamprisi and the Kusasis?
That is our hope. We are skeptical because of the past experience. As I said, we've had this 3 times in the past, and it didn't end the conflict. And so we don't know what it is Asantehene is going to say that will really bring an end to this conflict. Finally, that is our worry. And the truth of the matter is that one side has never accepted the resolution. And as long as one side has refused to accept 3 resolutions, if Asantehene comes out to say the same thing, to simply uphold what has been said in the past, which is what the vast majority of people expect Asantehene to do, then what is the guarantee that this same group that refused to accept these past 3 resolutions will accept Asantehene's word? And if Asantehene comes out to vary or to take a different stance from the 3 resolutions in the past, this other 5-side faction too will never accept it. That is why I was skeptical that what is it that Asantehene is going to say that has not been said, that has been repeatedly rejected by one faction. And if Asantehene comes and says something different that will please that faction that has rejected these 3 resolutions, the other faction will not accept it. And that is what our worry is. And we are praying that God will give Asantehene the wisdom, because for me, the issue is no longer about traditional matters. It is about political. The issue is purely political. And the politicians cause the mess, and then they go and give it to Asantehene to clean up the mess. And we are just praying and hoping that Asantehene can clean up the mess.
Thank you for your time this afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
That was John Azuma, president of the Kusao People's Congress. Now, we'll take a quick break here. We'll bring you business news after.
Playing for your country, enye easy. Scoring, enye easy. Winning, enye easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, so mommy, who is going to do my wedding jollof?
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so good. Tasty, yeah.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're Welcome back from the break. You're still watching ABC Midday News live on ABC News Ghana Television. We're streaming live on Facebook at ABC News GH_. Now, in the world of business, fuel prices are expected to see a slight increase at the pumps nationwide starting today, December 1, according to the latest price and outlook from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Petrol prices are forecast to rise by between 1.97% and 3.30%, pushing the average price per litre to about 12.91 Ghana cedis. Diesel is also expected to increase by 2.85% to 5.15%, which could take the pump price to roughly 13.37 Ghana cedis per litre. Liquefied petroleum gas may go up by as much as 3.10% per kilogram, potentially selling at 13.80 Ghana cedis per kilogram. Comac attributes these expected hikes to recent increases in the global prices of refined petroleum products, coupled with pressure on Ghana's currency over the past 2 weeks. In more news, after 6 weeks of quiet activity in the treasury market, investor confidence surged this week. New data from the Bank of Ghana shows that treasury bills were heavily oversubscribed by about 111%, reflecting a strong renewed interest in short-term government securities. Investors submitted 6.03 billion Ghana cedis in bids for the 91, 182 and 364-day bills, and the government accepted 5.78 billion Ghana cedis, far exceeding its 2.86 billion Ghana cedis target. Demand was led by the 91-day bill, which attracted 2.57 billion Ghana cedis, with almost the entire amount accepted. The 182-day bill saw 1.64 billion Ghana cedis tendered and 1.62 billion Ghana cedis accepted, while the 364-day bill received 1.81 billion Ghana cedis in bids, of which 1.58 billion Ghana cedis was taken up. The strong rebound is largely attributed to a lower issuance target and, more importantly, renewed interest from banks after the policy rate was cut by 350 basis points to 18%. That is all for business news. Up next is Pulse with James Oheneba Makion.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes.
He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used,
the more money he makes.
Oh yes. So, what are you waiting for?
Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money.
Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Sports on the Midday News with me, James Oheneba Makion. Let's start from the camp of the Black Queens, and Black Queens' new girl, Benedict Simon, has expressed deep pride and emotion as she reflected on the moment she saw her name on the national team list for the very first time. The French-born Ghanaian joined the squad on Friday with high spirits and immediately blended into the setup as preparations continue for the December 2nd showdown at St. Mary's Stadium. The 27-year-old is one of the new faces handed a maiden call-up by head coach Kim Lasbio-Kegere.
I'm very glad and I'm happy for me. It's an honor And for me, Ghana means a lot of things, like it's my motherland, so I'm happy to be here. It was like a dream, you know, because it's been a long time that I wanted to come here. And when I saw my name, I said, oh, I called my mother and I said, I'm in the list. So I was so happy. I started to play in Reims. It's a French club. Then I went to PSG for 3 years. I played in Juventus, I played in Atletico Madrid, I played in Valencia in Spain. I also played in Sassuolo in Italy, so I did a lot of clubs. And then now I'm in Servette in Switzerland. So I play as a right back, or sometimes I can play in the left side, and yeah. So my teammates are so nice, and they were happy for me, like to come in.
Now the Black Queens will play against England tomorrow. Now let's move on to the Ghana Premier League. And Asante Kotoko have been officially charged by the Ghana Football Association's disciplinary committee of allegations of threatening and assaulting match officials during their match day 12 clash with the Midday Sporting Club. The GFA statement indicates that the club failed to protect match officials by allowing unauthorized individuals into Zone 2 during halftime, where the officials reportedly faced stress and attacks, a violation of the 2025 enhanced match day protocols. The Porcupine Warriors have been given until Wednesday, December 3rd to submit their response to the charges. The incident occurred in a game that ended in a 2-2 draw between Asante Kotoko and Midday at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Now from the camp of Kotoko, let's move on to their bitterest rival, House of Folk, and their head coach, Masoud Didi Dramani, believes his team's efficiency in front of goal will be crucial to the club's momentum after Saturday's narrow victory over Vision Football Club. The win ended their brief stumble in the Ghana Premier League and restored confidence in their squad. Reflecting on the performance, Dramani expressed satisfaction with how the team created chances, but believes with consistency they can score more.
From this, that we created more than 6 chances, and so potentially all the set pieces that we played were all dangerous, and they all could have resulted into goals. And then there were so many build-up plays that it's our identity, where we find ourselves in the expansive phase of the game, where we needed a good decision in terms of the final pass and then a good run to finish. We need to improve in these areas and be more consistent. Once we are consistent in these aspects, then the confidence level comes in. Goal scoring is not just have it one and just put it there. It's the courage to continuously do something repeatedly, and then they believe that, oh really, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, will come. Then the confidence to be in those positions will become very eminent, and that's why top level strikers, when they get into certain situations, sometimes they miss. Mbappe and others, sometimes he meets a goalkeeper directly and then he hits against him. It happens, but it's not news, because in 2-3 days time he gets a similar one and then he buries, or he has scored similar situations. So we need to do these things consistently, and then we'll be more sustainable. And that.
So that'll be all for sports with me, James Ohinbamaki. On the news continues. Stay tuned.
You're still watching ABC Midday News. Up next is International. On the international front, the death toll in the floods which struck Indonesia last week has now climbed to more than 500, with rescue workers still battling to reach affected areas. The floods, which were caused by a rare cyclone that had formed over the Malacca Strait have hit 3 provinces and impacted some 1.4 million people, according to the government's disaster agency. Another 500 people remain missing, while thousands more have been injured. Indonesia is just one part of Asia which has been hit with torrential rain and storms in recent days, with Thailand, Malaysia and Sri Lanka all also reporting deaths. In Indonesia, the provinces of Aceh, North Sumatra and West Sumatra have been hardest hit, with thousands still cut off and without critical supplies. Aid workers have been trying to reach people on foot and by motorcycle, as many roads are impassable to larger vehicles. Pictures from the region show bridges washed away, roads covered in mud and debris, and logs piled high. Still on the international front, African leaders meeting in Algiers have renewed calls for colonial-era atrocities to be formally recognized, criminalized, and compensated, marking a significant step in the continent's long-running campaign for justice. The meeting follows an African Union resolution passed in May that seeks to classify colonization as a crime against humanity, a designation not currently reflected in international law. Delegates emphasized that European powers left behind deep economic and social scars after decades of plundering African resources, including gold, diamonds, timber, and rubber. Experts at the gathering noted that the financial losses incurred through extraction and exploitation amount to trillions, contributing to structural problems today. That is all for international news. Up next is entertainment.
Playing for your country, enye easy. Scoring, enye easy. Winning, enye easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenini na da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abe fie.
Jan tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come and see what. Hey, wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to obtain and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel.
In entertainment, DJ Sly Kane has finally ascended to the pinnacle of Ghana's disc jockeying landscape after walking home with the ultimate plaque of the night at the Guinness Ghana DJ Awards 2025, powered by Smirnoff. Sly Kane won the coveted DJ of the Year crown at the Palms Convention Center, held on November 29, 2025. The triumph marks a defining moment in the career of DJ Sly Kane, who walked into the auditorium with strong expectations of carrying the topmost honor of the 13th Guinness Ghana DJ Awards themed Shake the Floor. The new king says he had been putting in so much work in the year under review and was hopeful of ending DJ Lord OTB's 2-year reign as DJ of the Year. He emerged a conqueror in the category staffed with many hardworking DJs including AD DJ, DJ Milzy, TMS SK DJ, DJ Vyroski and DJ Loft. As part of winning the prestigious DJ of the Year award, DJ Sly Kane was presented with a brand new Pioneer DJ DDJ Rev 7 Scratch Style 2 controller, a prize that was presented by Madame Sabina Menu, Marketing and Innovations Director at Guinness Ghana. That is all for entertainment news, and that is all for ABC Midday News here on ABC News Ghana Television. We stream live on Facebook at ABC News GH_. For more news, log on to our website at www.abcnewsgh.com. I am Peggy Nyakwabano. Have a good week.